As the 80s took off, East's reputation did not. There was a significant decline in enrollment that affected the school throughout the 1980s. Starting the 80s began one of the longest-lasting principals in the school's history. Milton McPike had started his first year as principal in 1979. He was previously the principal of West High School for 5 years before transitioning to East. Despite the change in leadership, the decline in attendance affected the growth of many academic fields in the school. The one field that did grow was special education. Women's sports were also growing during this time as well due to the new Title IX legislation, which ensured that everybody would be treated equally in a sports environment. In 1981, the dance marathon that took place in December successfully raised over $2,600 for charity. The funds went to the American Cancer Society and Central Colony. The next couple of years shined a light on the achievements in sports, such as the East girls golf team taking home their first trophy in East's history, and 2 basketball players being highlighted in the Wisconsin State Journal. By 1984, some fellow from East stated in the newspaper that Peppy Pergolder looked like an unvacuumed rug. Well, I can't say you're wrong about that one, Mr. Attaway. In 1985, East had the widest selection of course offerings out of all of the schools in Madison, and this was in large part due to the new investments and insurance classes, as well as the new Black Studies course. The following year, presumably in response to a certain someone, Peppy received a new costume. Students in the Tower Times were trying to define exactly what a Peppy was. Is it angry? Is it friendly? Is it a bear or a deformed ape? Sorry, moving on. The hockey team excelled for the next couple of years. In 1987, they won the state tournament, and for the first time in 21 years, the East basketball team had made it to the state tournament. Ending off the 80s, the hockey team gained their first female player in 1989, and the East girls basketball team almost won the state tournament. Sports, as usual, were excelling at East. However, many controversies in the school arose with the rise of racial tensions in the East community. Before continuing this story, it's important to acknowledge the discrimination that has taken place at East over the years. Rewinding to the beginning of the 70s, the decade did not start out well. A fight between 60 people had broke out in the East High cafeteria. Racial tensions at East were particularly high at that time, and those tensions seemed to be rising once again in the late 80s. Rumors about racially motivated fights circulated throughout the district, and many students stated that people of color at East were harassed every day. Some students said their parents considered pulling their children out of the school because of the situations that were unfolding. It's important to recognize these problems in our community, as they still exist today. In response to the tensions being felt in the community, East administrators brought students together to help deal with and talk about racism. After convening and talking amongst one another, the large majority of students said that they understood each other more, and the tension had calmed down within the school. East's strength took place in the strength of the students, and as long as they had those determined students going forward, nothing was ever going to diminish the true spirit of the community.